everybody. This is Sri from BizBuzz. What matters the most in your business? Sponsored by My Work Belt. My Work Belt is a all-in-one software, particularly catering to the service-based small businesses. Today, I have a guest, Craig Andrews. Craig Andrews is a principal ally at alliesforme.com. They provide marketing services for high trust and high ticket items. Those who have those, they can check them out. Craig, how are you doing today?
Sri, I'm doing wonderfully. How about yourself?
Very good, very good. Thank you for joining me today. And so I wanted to, we were chatting about how people talk about SMART goals or in general as a goals. And some people have monthly goals, some people have a weekly goals, some people have annual goals, and some they come start the goals in the beginning of the year and then they drop it very next week or next 2 weeks. So goal setting and goals, achieving goals has been in the minds of a human mind or mankind for thousands of years, right? And there is no one formula that fits for everybody. But most of the people know one thing they do is they generally pick up the goal setting task, so to speak, in December or sometime around December and or in sometime until the mid of January. They work so much and they put pressure and energy, time on it. And then by the end of January, everything goes hell in handbasket,
Yeah.
right? Now, as we talked about it before and before the conversation, there got to be an alternate approach that can help people to continue on this. Uh,
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of annual performance reviews for employees.
that is also true.
You check in with your employee once a year, and that never made sense to me, other than somebody in HR said you had to do this, to meet some compliance things.
Correct.
I always thought that was kind of silly because that's we know enough about ourselves. We know enough about
Right.
humans that when somebody say, the reason they're deadlines because they work.
They work.
When you have deadlines, you actually get things done. And I think there's something that we can learn from the software development industry that moved to doing things in sprints.
In sprints, yes, that's what we do, and we became really good at it now.
Yeah. And I think we should learn from that.
Yeah,
And you can define the length of the sprint. When we work with clients, all of our work is done in 90-day sprints
right.
or 90-ish. It's basically one quarter. We have 3 months. Here's our goals for this quarter.
Hmm.
And what's amazing is a couple things came out of that. And let me talk about it in terms of the way that we serve clients, because I think it also applies to
Right.
businesses. The way we used to work was, hey, we're moving in this direction. And it was kind of like the definition of when I lived in the Philippines, their public transportation was a jeepney. It was like an extended World War II Willys Jeep. And the official capacity of a jeepney was one more. You could always fit one more on the jeepney. And so the way we were working with clients was we would hit goals and then our work would become one more. Okay, we need to
One
go
more.
do this now. Well, it burned out us. It was burning
Right.
us out as a team.
That's correct.
And so we moved to quarterly sprints. Here's our goal for the sprint.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening, what I discovered was when we got to the end of the quarter and we looked at what we achieved, because you always forget by the end of the quarter what you set out to do by the beginning, and you forget some of the things that you accomplished. Well, when you're tracking it and you get to the end of the quarter, you're like, oh, wow, we did all of that in a quarter.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes.
And it gives you a sense of relief. And
It
so,
does. See, in software industry, where I came from, right? So we generally it used to be the case waterfall approach, and but it didn't really give the great deal of efficiency for the projects. But that was for a long time approach. But then later on, agile methodology picked up very, very quick, and it gotten really successful. In our case, the sprints are very small. The one you are talking about in a business environment, the sprint is a 3 months period of sprint, 90 days sprint. But in
Yeah,
our case, there may be a project that is only 90 days. So you cannot put a 90-day sprint for a 90-day project. So
right.
in our case, we take weekly sprints, right?
Yeah.
In case of a business goals, what you wanted to achieve for a business, a weekly sprint might be too much, but a weekly check-in could be a beneficial if you're taking a 90-day review of goals. And so go ahead.
Well, and it's funny because I think we can tie this back to larger business planning. When we do a 90-day sprint, we have three types of meetings.
Okay,
We have the quarterly goal setting meeting where we
that's
sit
correct.
down, we lay out the goals. What are our goals for the next quarter? Then we have monthly um, kind of realignment meetings
Oh, there
where
you go.
we look at where are we?
Right.
Here's the goals that we laid out for the 90 days. Are we on track? Are we off track?
Hmm.
We need to apply more resources? Do we need to have we abandoned something? Is there a reason where all of us sitting here agree
Yeah.
that it made sense when we did our goal setting meeting, but the world's changed in whatever way. And so we're going to make the collective decision to abandon this goal, or maybe we're going to delay it a quarter or whatever we're going to do. But it's intentional, not accidental. And then we have weekly meetings, which are basically more task oriented.
Oh, there
It's
you go. Gotcha.
we check in weekly of, okay, here's the tasks on our plate
Hmm.
and are we getting them done? And so like we're in the last month of a sprint with a client. Ideally we have our clients line up with calendar quarters, but that doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
And um and so here um we have one thing that we have to complete before the end of the quarter. And we only have a few weeks left in the quarter, and it's
Right.
kind of reached a critical point. And so I'm actually having a meeting this afternoon with that client to say, hey, this goal is in jeopardy. We can still do it, but here's where we are. We need to get this done. We need this from you so
Right.
that we can start it on our stuff. And it just really works out well that way.
Now it's
And
interesting you mentioned that quarterly goals, but you also mentioned that you monthly check-ins.
yes,
That monthly check-ins is very, very powerful when you do that. It will help you to discover or uncover any brick walls that you are running into or you already run into,
right.
right? Which will become, they can jeopardize the 90-day goals, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't have the check-ins, then the purpose of setting the 90-day goal will be defeated, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is, the world changes,
Yeah.
right? The world changes. And we can think of like several events. When COVID happened,
Mhm.
the world changed.
Yes.
Whatever, if you did your goal setting in January,
By March, everything is doomed.
yeah, in March, you're like, okay, let's rip up the plate. You have to go back and you say, you know what? We've set the wrong goal. Well, again, hopefully you're setting quarterly goals, and at the end of March, you're doing your next quarter. But when was it? I think it was the beginning of March when
No,
everything
March
got shut.
20th.
March what?
20th.
20. Oh, okay. All right. I forgot that. So, but anyway, yeah. So you have things like COVID happen. You have things like 9/11 that happen. You have all these
There are a lot
different,
of things that are not in your control, not in your wildest imagination.
right. So let's back up and let's talk about a bigger goal. The
Right.
idea of I think the reason that people do annual goals is they're thinking, okay, I want to have this much revenue, this much profit,
Hmm.
they want to have some basic numbers to report. It's how we're aligned. It's we pay taxes annually. And so somebody told me, they said, you know what? It never really works out well when you do annual planning.
Correct.
And he said what he's found best, and I'll tell you who it is a guy named Ryan Dice,
Hmm.
who was founder of digitalmarketer.com,
Hmm.
co-founder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's also a co-founder of a business called Scalable, where he helps businesses scale.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah.
And so he um, he said what he's found that works best is to set 3-year goals.
Hmm. Interesting.
And then within those 3 years, you kind of break it down into these quarterly sprints.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know where you're going, and um, maybe some quarters you end up achieving more than you expected, some quarters you end up achieving less, but you're working towards that 3-year goal.
Makes sense. And you have enough time to steer the ship if it goes into the wrong direction.
Yes.
Or even if there is any disaster happened, you have enough time to recoup from it and recover from it.
Yeah.
Let's say you set a 3-year goal and you got 1 year into it, and then things like COVID hit or September 11th attack hit. Now you're completely doomed. But if you have a 3-year goal setting, you have a 2 more years to recover from it and then be able to achieve what you wanted to achieve.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I mean, I'll give you an example of a company that I thought responded really, really well. There's a business called Advance Your Reach. Their business is to equip people to get on stages, talk
Mm-hmm.
about their business, and grow their business through public speaking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's in May or June was their annual conference. That was their big event. That was basically their money maker for the year.
Okay.
And COVID hit. They have a business that's about equipping people to get booked on stages and perform on stages. And all of a sudden, all stages went away.
Also, the overall foundation of the business is gone.
Right. And what they did was they pulled back and they pulled the team together. They shut the business down for 2 or 3 days, put auto replies on saying, "Hey, we're not here, but we'll be back in 3 days." And and they sat down and they went back to where do we want to be?
Yeah.
And that anchor would be more like that 3-year goal. I don't know if they were using 3-year goals, but that would be the anchoring thought. Okay, here's where we want our revenue to go.
Right.
The world just changed. That directly impacts the way we make money.
Mm-hmm.
How do we make money? How do we still work towards that goal?
Yeah.
And I'm not kidding, within 3 days, they totally reinvented their business. They moved everything online,
Mm-hmm.
and then their business became how to get booked on online stages and how to hold online events. And
Right.
they pioneered a new way of holding a conference virtual. And I actually went to that conference, and it was amazing how well he did it. And he did it so well that multiple people hired him to go
And
run
doing
their
the
conferences
online
during the era
conferences.
of COVID, including Ryan Dice. And and it ended up being one of his best revenue years ever. So I think in that there's two things. One, you gotta have that. The world changes dynamically, and so yes, set 3-year goals as kind of your guidepost. General Patton would
Right.
say that's your steamroller strategy. Here's
Mm-hmm.
where we're going. That does not change quarterly, or that doesn't change yearly. That's set for every 3 years.
But
But then
90-day
quarter by
sprints.
quarter, you figure out, okay, what do we need to do?
Right.
What do we need to do over this next quarter to move in the direction where we're ultimately going?
That's correct. And on a monthly check-in, you will be able to figure out what are the brick walls that you are running into, what are the world changes coming into effect for you, and how do you redefine your strategy to go and hit the 3-year goal.
Yes.
If it is a 1-year goal setting, then you will be prone to a great deal of jolt when something happens that is not in your control. Now,
Yeah.
what a wonderful perspective here. And thank you very much for sharing with us. So those who are listening to here, yes, you may be having a difficulty to comprehend. No, that doesn't make sense. But there is a lot of examples that we are sharing here. Putting a 3-year goal opposed to 1-year goal and having a 90-day revision of the sprints to achieve your goal, and then monthly check-ins. Whereas if you're looking at the weekly tasks, so a 3-year goal broken down into quarterly and then broken down into monthly check ins and then broken down into weekly tasks, which will consistently happen, and surely you will be achieving the goal for the 3 years. But the key component is these cycles have to be continuously run. Weekly tasks, monthly check-ins, quarterly sprints, and 3-year goals. Great. Thank you very much for sharing this. And it's greatly a powerful concept. Much appreciate your presence in the show and sharing this knowledge with us.
Thank you, Shri. Always a delight.